To have you here. So my name is Haas, pronouns he, him, and I'm the proud founder of House, a community for queer trans people of color thriving at the intersection of technology, creativity, and culture. My team and I are so thrilled to be hosting our first career conference themed around Beyonce's You Can't Break My Soul to address the mass layoffs and economic uncertainty that we're facing as we head into the new year. It has been crazy. So a little bit about House. So House was founded in June 2020 as a way to build an inclusive and fun community for queer trans people of color like myself, and personally also helped me build my confidence in a career gap. In August of this year, I was laid off again. And I thought it was time to bring together the community again while our companies and our ERGs are crumbling. So it has taken a village to build the House Summit. So I want to thank a few people. Number one, our team of volunteers. We're based from all over the world, from India to Nigeria, Spain, and the USA. So I'm going to just name them off. Ash, Sue, Norbert, Makai, Christy, Sam. I'm just so grateful for you because we've all been volunteers. Number two, our speakers who have given up their time and their energy, again, all volunteering their time because they believe in the community and our cause. And lastly, our sponsors, General Assembly, Out in Tech, Queerency, Do the Work. We've also had some really incredible support from agencies like TBWA, WPP, Dentsu Creative, Two Halves, and it's been really just remarkable. And now, I would like to, please introduce yourself in the chat. I put in, your first name, your location, and your favorite queer icon of all time. Please feel free to use the comments. We really want this to be a interactive experience. So like as EJ is doing his talk, if you can introduce yourselves in the chat, that would be great. So without further ado, I'm thrilled to introduce EJ from Google to kick things off with the renaissance of today's workplace. Take it away.
Amazing. Thank you for the introduction, Hassan. And thank you for also inviting me to open today's summit, which is an honor in and of itself, before also identifying and bridging the open space that resides at the intersections of technology, creativity, culture, and most uniquely for queer people of color. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 2022 House Summit. Black and brown queer folks have existed since the dawn of humanity and have always relied on community to navigate difficulties in the face of discrimination, unlock innovations that inspire, and drive progress and equity across the world. This space today is no different. Here, we're able to build community, restore our souls, and fuel our passions. And I hope that as you all begin to settle in, that you leave with something more than you came with. My name is EJ Stancil, and I'm beyond thrilled to be here with y'all today. I'm dialed in from sunny Los Angeles, California, which sits on the original homeland of the Gabriel Nino and Tongva tribe. I'm a brown-skinned and bald-headed man with a precision-cut mustache, and I'm wearing a Basquiat shirt and a dark green blazer. My pronouns are he, him, and because I'm from Houston, I'm also a hottie. What's up, H-Town? I'm a diversity and equity and inclusion program manager at Google, and I'm responsible for operationalizing and scaling our DEI efforts within the Android product team. I'm most proud to say that I'm a hype man, I'm a cheerleader, and I love to sprinkle some razzle-dazzle on rainy days. The theme of today's summit is, of course, inspired by Her Majesty the Queen, Beyonce, but also by the idea of building new foundations, specifically for queer people of color in today's turbulent and uncertain economic market. But what does that really mean? Generally speaking, folks look to tech as one marker of broader economic health due to the fact that the internet economy grew 7 times faster than the total US economy during the past 4 years. And it now accounts for 12% of the US gross domestic product. Across the tech industry, we've seen many organizations go through restructuring efforts in order to focus their business models, save on costs, and increase revenue and improve shareholder value. And while shareholders are maintaining value, these organizational changes are having a direct impact on people, both inside and outside of these companies. Millions of people have been laid off by firms ranging from Airbnb, Uber, Meta, Twitter, and recently DoorDash, all in an effort to cut costs in the context of plummeting revenues. In addition to layoffs, some organizations have frozen hiring, making the signs of a cooling job market that much more visible. It's giving chaos. And because of this volatility, we're seeing folks struggle or worrying about a future struggle. There's fear and anxiety in the air, and it's affecting how we engage with each other in professional and even our personal areas of life. Generally, jobs do not feel safe right now. So let's break this down with some brain science. Fear is something that every human has experienced. Dr. Alicia Moreland-Capella, a researcher and community psychiatrist, explains that fear is a full brain and body experience, and it stems from our human inclination towards survival. Fear is designed to be time and threat limited. But what happens when the fear response doesn't quite shut off? According to Van der Kolk, another researcher of post-traumatic stress, traumatization occurs when both internal and external resources are inadequate to cope with external threat. Dr. Moreland-Capella gives us a simpler equation to think about. Ongoing fear plus stress equals trauma. Now, I know I'm preaching to the choir a little bit when I say that the experiences of being queer and being a person of color in corporate spaces can compound this needless stress, trauma, and suffering. If you can relate to this, go ahead and drop a comment or emoji. Let me know where you're at. Just let me know. I see some folks. Yeah. Know that you are not alone. Know that. According to a global study by McKinsey & Company, when queer folks are in a workplace, we're constantly trying to navigate how to bring our authentic selves to work, even if all the policies, the right policies, are in place. And so folks from our community look around at senior leadership, you look around at your managers, you are looking for the visible cues in the office or even with your clients about how much you can be out and how open. And to no surprise, what the study found is that people are still too often the only. We're the only queer person in the room. Nearly half of the survey's respondents feel the need to come out at least once a week at work. That's me. And on top of that, we are still more likely to experience microaggressions across the intersections of race and gender. Relatable? This snowball can start to roll with no end in sight because at a certain point, you don't know which angle the problem is coming in from. Is it a gay thing? Is it a Black thing? Is it because I'm pretty and I'm too fly and they're just hating on me? Like, which one is it? It can be a lot, and it can drive you up the wall. I'm dropping all of this in tandem with the backdrop of economic uncertainties because I want to validate your experiences. They are real. Right or wrong, our jobs and levels of productivity have an outsized influence with our self-worth. And if those things are at risk, it can cause an increase for your chances of falling into Dr. Moreland's equation for trauma. Our lived experiences alone can fuel a deep sense of isolation. So what can we do to safeguard our minds, our hearts, our souls? For our minds, let's engage in the practice of reframing what failure means. I have to be vulnerable, and I have to admit that I fumble and I flop all the time. I find myself hitting walls constantly in my work and in my personal life. Nothing is perfect over here. I had to sit down with myself and ask, what are the chances of me succeeding if my goal is to never fail? If failure is going to be ever present, then how do I want it to be present? I had to figure out and come to terms with what I could control. Rather than avoiding failure, I make the appropriate room for failure to show up. I decided that every day I get to determine what is defined as a failure. And I know all the type A's in the room are probably clutching your pearls talking about failure is an option. The answer is yes. And guess what? What I determine as failure for myself is not a democratic decision, and it's not up for debate. It's my choice. I engage with failure this way because what I find most valuable in this practice is my recovery ability and my recovery agility. I'm not giving my energy to failure. I'm giving my energy to failure recovery. My bounce back is my motivation, and it's what keeps me in the driver's seat day after day. Reframe failure. For our hearts, Caroline Wanga, the CEO of Essence, gives us a clear call to action here. She explores the idea of the fact that the obligation we have to pursue our career aspirations in organizations that aren't as melanated as we would want sits right next to our obligation to not fail those who came before us. Our obligation is twofold. One, get your coin, get your level, get your power, get your business. I'm here for it, and I want you to have it. Two, but I don't want you to have it if with it you don't understand your responsibility to leave the baton further ahead than where you picked it up. It's about you, but it's not about you. The person behind you furthers all of us. So pour into community with your heart and watch it pour back into you. Even in the alphabet city of the LGBTQIA2S+, and across the street where race and ethnicity resides, many silos can still be found. But most of the time, when we work together, we find that we're the majority. You showed up today, and that is huge. Invest in yourself by investing in community too. And finally, for our souls, I want to drive home this last point by bringing in one of the most prolific minds of our time.
I've heard you quote the famous mythologist Joseph Campbell, and as the saying goes, the privilege of a lifetime is being who you are. What does that mean to you?
Now we're about to get deep.
No.
While I'm choking.
That's the show.
Viola's last words before she died on the Hot One show was, I just feel like our whole journey in our life is becoming our ideal selves. You know, we get stripped away as we go along the journey, where it's like, I've got to the point in my life, it's like I've been sold a bill of goods, you know, that really at the end of the day, you come into this world, you are absolutely who you are. Then your parents come along and they try to imprint themselves on you, your friends, society. You know, this is a school you have to go to. This is how pretty you have to look. This is what you have to wear. And I think somewhere along the line is a voice deep within you that tells you exactly who you are. You just have to have the courage to do that. That's what the journey of the hero is all about. You know, you're born into a world where you don't fit in. And then you answer the call to adventure. And you deny the call. And then at one point, you then set out on your path. All right? And you slay dragons, you do all of that. And then at some point, you come face to face with not a god, but yourself. Okay? And somewhere along the line, and you get it, your aha moment, your elixir, and you go back to your ordinary world and you share it with others. And I think that's the journey. And I think that's the privilege of being absolutely who you are, belonging to yourself, and being brave.
Aunt Vi said it so well on the Hot Wing show of all places, too. Find the courage to be exactly who you are. And when you reach yourself, share your aha moments with others. These organizations need you and your magic, but you have to know it for yourself first. When you walk through those doors and you sense fear starting to trickle in, remind yourself that you belong to a community that stands on the shoulders of the most resilient and determined ancestors who have existed in the trials and triumphs of life. Their ceiling is now our floor, and they did not allow us to roam this far for no reason. And as I come to a close, I'll leave you with this final thought. As Queen Bee so beautifully said on the 6th track of Renaissance, look for something that lives inside you and don't let them break your soul. This is a one-of-a-kind benefit that you will always have access to. Thank you. Up next is a fireside chat, You Better Move, with Christopher Tabora and Madison Butler. You can leave the session by clicking the bottom left button and join You Better Move. Have a great day, y'all, and enjoy the rest of the conference.